Hey everybody, Super Strider here. Here's another video that will probably end up on Geek Streak. Another episode of Can We Restore This Machine? This time we're working with a Toshiba, this is a Toshiba Satellite A105, I believe. And this was given to me, and I haven't been able to work on it ever, it was given to me over a year ago, but I haven't been able to work with it because when it was given to me, it had no power cable. I am over at a friend's house right now. They happen to have an adapter that works in this machine, and I've already swapped out its hard drive because I was using it as an external. And besides, it had some faults on it anyway. So what we're going to be doing this time is see if we can actually restore this to make this a working Linux-based system. It's optimized. This system's optimized for Windows XP. It says it's compatible with Windows Vista. I am not trying Windows 7, definitely not Windows 10 on this thing, considering it's a bit old, but if we can get it working with Linux, we can breathe some new life into this machine. So I'm going to power it on right now. It's going to tell me a boot failure because the hard drive in it has no OS on it whatsoever, because it's a completely wiped hard drive. And so the first thing we're going to be doing, that's Vector Linux. I'm going to be testing its RAM, so I'm going to be putting in our little buddy known as MemTest. Once I find the disk out of my spindle of disk Linux builds, so this MemTest is somewhere in there too. Okay, yeah, it turns out I forgot to grab that. Oh well, it doesn't matter. When you install Linux on a machine, it adds a partition for MemTest on it anyway, so we can just test it after we install after we install. So we're going to boot from the disk CD-ROM drive. Yep, it's spinning. And we're going to see if we can get this thing to work. And all looting vote. Okay, so we're installing Lubuntu on this, so that way it's easier on the system. Try Lubuntu without installing, so we can actually show it, because Lubuntu is a lighter version of Ubuntu, and it requires it's far less resource intensive, and most of the stuff that works for Ubuntu works on Lubuntu. So we're going to let it boot up and work. I'll let you know once it's booted. Okay, we got it loaded onto the disk, or from the disk. It took a while to boot up because probably it's copying the files from the disk to the RAM, which that takes a while. I'm going to take a look at the battery or the specs of this machine now that we can. It is charging, currently charging. Alright, okay, accessories. Alright, system tools. Alright. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to install this onto this machine. By clicking on the Install Lubuntu function. And then I'm going to set this. Alright, I might as well open a file manager too to take a look at the size of the hard drive, as well as take a look at the specs of the machine. But already this one's looking promising, much more than the last machine that we did. Oh, I already had a name for this hard drive. I'm just going to wipe it. I'm just going to check what's on it and see if there's anything worth taking off of it. And it looks like it's empty. Yeah, this current hard drive that I have in it is not the same hard drive that came with this machine. It's actually a smaller one, but it's more than enough to run the Lubuntu off of it, as well as have a lot of space on it, because, well, the installation file for this is only like 700 megs, and this is like I think it's either a 40 or a 60 gig hard drive. I don't remember exactly how much. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'll take a look at it through the file manager. Okay, 55.6. There we go. I can see at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it's 55.6. Oh, and we can connect to a Wi-Fi here to download the latest updates. So I'm actually going to connect this real quick and then start the installation process. Okay, we're connected to the internet here, and I'm going to tell this to download updates while installing the operating system, and then I'll install the actual things, or like the actual programs on it later. But for the time being, I'm just going to set this up so it actually runs Lubuntu on this machine. Okay, has detected SD. You want to unmount arm like to leave these, will not be able to create a resize. Like, do you want to try to unmount? If you leave them mounted, you will not. Okay, so yeah, just click yes. Alright. We're going to install this. Once it continues, I'm going to set up like for the main pass. Okay, erased. Yeah, we're going to erase the entire disk and install Lubuntu. Because, yeah, or I'm like, if you continue, the changes will continue. Yeah, I'm already wiping the drive on purpose, so that this hard drive only works with this computer, and this version of Lubuntu is only going to work on it. So that's not normally if you're not, or like that's normally you not want to do if you're trying to do a dual boot system. I'm going to have to update its update the location, and the for the account basis of the account for this, I'm just going to set up as admin with the password as well. Password, I'll change it later. It's just for the purpose of this tutorial. I'm just going to be doing that, or just using a simple password right now because this is going to be sold to someone in the near future, and then I can probably just change I'll just change the password for them later. Because it's relatively easy to do, or should be relatively easy to do that. So in the meantime, we're going to we'll put our location, which is Hammond. I misspelled Hammond. Again, sorry, I don't have any onboard recording software for this. Indiana, which is Indiana. Indiana United. Oh, come on. Well, I'm going to need both hands for this, so I'll just skip to the next step. Okay, the system locked up, so I am testing. I'm using the built-in MEM test on this disk. So I'm going to test the RAM real quick, and we can see that this has. I'm like only 450 megabytes of RAM. Yeah, that's not a whole lot. So yeah, I'm going to test the RAM real quick. That's no wonder why I was slowing down on here. Good thing I'm going to actually just do I'm just going to do a fresh install from the disk once MEM test is done. So that way it should run. That should run quick or better. There's no way this machine was compatible with Windows Vista. This advertisement right here. That's a lie. There's not enough RAM in this thing.
Yeah, it didn't come off, so. Alright, I love you.
So I'm just going to run the test, just to make sure everything. I'm like, it's just locked up for a bit, so I'm just going to do a full-on system install, and I'm not even going to bother connecting to the internet that time, or the next time. So, yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, we're back in the installation process. I've opted to not connect it to the internet this time. The RAM was good, so now we're just going to set up this account. So we're just going to call the username admin, and we're just going to pick a random or just a simple password, which will be changed later. This is just for the purpose of this video that I'm just showing you if we can restore this machine. If anything needs to be changed, that can be done in the future. So I'll set this up and I'll proceed to the next step. Okay, this is how we're setting this up. Since this is a Toshiba Satellite 1 or A105, I'm calling it Satellite. Since this is a Linux build, we're going to call the computer Satellite Linux. Alright, so this is the cool thing about when you're creating a password. It tells you if it's strong or weak. Right now, I just chose the word password as the password, which is why it says it's weak. This will be changed later, but for the purpose of this video, we're just seeing if we can resurrect this machine. So, having a weak password is not necessarily detrimental on this machine, assuming that only the administrator has access to this, and for right now only I will have access to this machine. I can just easily change it later. Yay, we are installing! I also had to change the name of the user on this system, because the Lubuntu would not allow you to use that. So I changed it to owner, but again, that's only for the purposes of this video. Right now it's copying all the files from the disk to the hard drive, and then it's going to install everything. This machine has a small amount of RAM, and if we're going to actually use it for something serious, the RAM definitely needs to be upgraded. But for the time being, we know that this machine works. Or at least we're finding out that it works. Linux is being installed, and once it's done installing, we'll boot it up into Linux without the disk and the drive. Alright, I'm putting this at my laptop right now because I looked up the specs for the Toshiba Satellite A105. It appears that the max memory, usually on these models, can go up to 4 gigs. At least that's how much the motherboard can support. So, yes, definitely the RAM in this machine needs to be upgraded because it only has 450 megabytes of RAM, and that's not a whole lot. But it should be sufficient for Lubuntu, and also for Puppy Linux. Okay, we have successfully installed Lubuntu on this machine. It's just pointing us that the incomplete language support, that could be done later. It just needs to update. It's just an update it'll need eventually. So we just finished doing this. I'm just going to do some basic testing on this machine. Because obviously nothing's been installed yet. So now I'm going to figure out. There's a way to convert others. All right. So there's a way to set it up so that the input that the system is like, or the input is like Ubuntu. So, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But at least now it's working just fine. And the final verdict. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn this thing around, and that light is in my eyes. Yeah. And it's bright. The final verdict for this machine is that it can be that we have successfully been able to restore this machine. Much better than the previous computer that we worked on, which was, well, if you saw the previous video, was a massive nightmare. Thank you guys for watching. This is Super Strider signing off. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, another quick update. I'm at home. I don't have a power cord plugged in, and since this is an old machine, I just decided to test the actual battery. And it's booting up without the power cord, so this battery inside this laptop is also good. The only thing I'm going to make an addendum for when I did this machine, or when I said that we've successfully rezzed this machine. This machine is indeed worth selling. But my recommendation, though, is whoever I sell it to, I'm going to tell them flat out they're going to want to upgrade the RAM in it because it doesn't have a whole lot. But other than that, everything works just fine on this machine. I am now home, so I can easily just test this, and I'm just going to log out. I'm going to shut it down so I don't drain its battery power. But we have tested that this battery works just fine. And there's no power going to it. So, yeah. Again, this is Super Strider signing off. I'll see you guys next time.